What are y'all gonna have that helping hand? I can never understand for the weak, for the hunger pains, and no for food for thought, for the eat, for the planting of the garden, for the plant pace and the deprivation, for the routing of the growth, for the growing pains, and the ache, the heart, for the beat, for the death self, for the death, for the life, for the innocence of the rights of the case in the case, and even instead of the stealing and the omen and integrity, for the catching, the pleading, and the blood, for the savings, and the accountability for the blood banks. Credit for all for the frown, and to and fro for the frove, and the eye to find the love, for the air, for the being, the call, for that, for the mirror, for the flow out of your mind, for the like an ignorant river, for the Nigeria, for the inferior, the patriarch, for the resistant, for the sin, for the missing, the mark, for the question, the mythic, the conundrum. Victimized as you said a lie. I sighed that I said to try to tell you to look at those you couldn't believe it. Alive, but pay attention to the pursuit to within for the day to be determined for the detriment, for the describe that for the scribblers. You can read that for the getting when the shot they misread. Misled for that you to the deceive. And this is disease cease to doubt to conceive that before you leaving and the coming out of the shoreline again that you can find it coming out of the tides and hides. This will be the boom for the owner determined for the deterred. Not mine is misheard. Because if she followed that voice and you heard the straight to the slaughtering for the session, ate for the sausage to be other white meat for the chicken and the fuck you harder to the pump of the hormones. Her fear. The will for the love, for the cock, for the morning, for the sun, for the rise, and the instant running to the other side for the behind and the shadows of life for the sequel and you catch you if you would it if I couldn't. I guess I can find a way for the releasing of the unwanted. It feels good. I want to stand for the comfort of the joy. That was only the amazing perfect creator for the calling for the love lost and is actually the game for the creator for the void, divine, to reserve that for the something of it, embracing and effort to see the truth and not even one to release. I can't help myself. But he's a man that had a wife who couldn't help but hurt him. Trials and tries to be sentenced for the tries and disappointed when expected for the outer outcome, for the income, the doubt, for the repetitive wages, the wedge between him and Harvard and hard place and hurt. Face that to share for the delusion of mirrors and insanity, for the experience and expectations made full of it once again for the last effort that you can find that for the harm for the defense. Bearing arms tied behind backs and efforts in front is harder than over to bear for the now experience the felt when it's only truth and not victimized for the fear for the lack for the rest is the reason why you keep talking is left and losing once the love to rightfully deny for you can be the show. You know there's no protection seen without the trust for support systems and foundations to sink on the countertops and without offer their water to the ability able to know that you are able to be stable enough for the staples in the instinct. Excuse again for the execution and for the exit whys and questions and chromosomes and you see me the future but you can't see me just stuff repeating the past and now and I can see that for the past and never for the mind and advertising for the add-ons. Subliminal care for the takers who will fool your health to believe in your wealth for the position and positive and enough for the post to die for the telephone post and you can find a social shot to the non-seekers to deny the assistance for the never. Walk into the walls and the halls and the hollow trust and the couch of the poor for the hope and then to the table the conscience to define life for the consistent lesson to your consequence for the purposes and I can find that label for the still leaders that are selling out of stock for like drive for the promises and account and the ability for the add you to another for the consumer for the lesson to this is attractive for the accountability for the savings and this would be the drafts and this is the forgiving for the D could be the executed for the unaware for the thought for the being sure that you can find the practicing awareness is a surprise. You're wearing and looking you're feeling what you can find and the mirror for the broken glass of the familiar enough for the uncommon ground for the power to walk when you can be the end of the day for the generous enough for the be the sun for the without the shining of warm your heart body for the temperature because it's the climate. Drive into that redundancy. No occupancy, occupied attendance and right to rate. Express that, compress and that could be the shadow of the hopes and the signs. You can find the logic for the teaching of what you can learn for the remember. You can find the walk in front of me for the vulnerability for the newspaper, for the proposition, the propaganda for the proposed. Probably provide proof of progress and produce reduction, progress, and pronouncing support and supplements to sustain your life. What am I gonna do today? What am I gonna do today? What am I gonna do today? What am I gonna do tomorrow? But I guess there's plenty fish in God. See, the shells will appear for the dinners that disappear for the jellyfish that swim warm water. But it's beautiful to sting you with the tides that brings you shore to determining what the moon does. It what it works for you for against the tides and wash away the toss it back and forth until the lessons are learned with the burden of receding. Recede, recess, recessions, questions, no answer but emotionally confusing. Giving up on until you dissipate for the awakening of the sun, the light to the core, with the correlate for the fates of the fatigue. Prenatal for the premature, for the native, for the natural wonder, for the these flares and solar rays to distinct the devil's array. And it'll waste underneath that floor for the shore. Awake that for the dreamscape. One scoop and then watching the dreamers to come near. What if the line unknown for the such and the noun, for the be the pro advocate for the fatality, for the surprise and confuse the will. Repeat the act and though it was the first time to cast the role for this to be and doing the whole play. The whole play is serious, it's a serious star for the Broadway. Meditation and prayer for the applause of the pole. Appalled to the parent of flaws to display till displays to vanish without a trace of the face for the untie that lace that made you break a leg for the begging and for the arriving of the helpers on the way for the you can have it already for the helping hand for the distress of the beauty for the dress of the implement. Impressive irony to give that assistance for the distance for the such to be the direction to please and acts on a date for the encompassing. The compass acts the compassion, then the complaints, the painful, the paint, the picture of the fate for the calamity, for the calmness, the confusion, infused with the illusion to never see the conclusion, the conclude. Outcome to the interlude. Lending the shoulder for the evening of an Eiffel Tower for the sand, for the ill still bad, for the posture, for the dictator, for the predicament. Helping bad intentions for the never intended, for the tender heart, for the never eyes to blind to what to keep before, for this to see behind, but the herb again, think her vert to bliss, this the ignorance of the trance, adapt from the mood for the emotions, or rhythm for the music to dance. Under the moonlight for the soul celebratory, I can find the pre-thought for the light, the science, and laboratory for the elaborate. You can't detect this, it's too late for the fetus, for the fed, for the misled, for the pen, for the no ink, for the no thought, for the who thought, who think, for the be ignorant enough, for the weak eye, for the behold, for the beating, for the grip, for the not to slip the hands of this, to be the heart wide open, that's only the handle with the draw, or with the seal, for the sea, for the illustrator, the sickness. You listen, you can find an illusion for the never could read that, for the you were illiterate, for the high rates of the illness to do great. That silver ring snake to bite that trap for the charmer to the forsaken for the snake for the act of the stake and the idea for the intention for the campsites for no tense and the tantalizer for the tantrums and the traumatic for the transient transition to the position to train the blame the deceit to the high to the indecency for the indecisive for the decision for the indicted for the dissident indebted for the aversion for the indecent for the complacency the complaint that is simply give out to the sample the amp of the amp the camp compromising the no pleasure for the plea for the outset for the inset for the infant infiltrate for the filling for the rape for the tyrant to the anticipated for the paybacks. Back of the paper, the payback for the paper, the war over the moment, the previous mistake for the soft that blaze, and I waited for the scale for the message of faith for this world. When you carried the light, the bloody dancing, the romance in that movie. He was the carry, delivered for the pleaded, diplomat for the hats of the hate, the air for the diplomacy for the idiots, and no idea for the becoming, and no memory, and no idea for the idiot. Ideal AMP. Ideology for the idiot is for the see the course and effect of the cause and the answer to be the dreamers and the waiting for the foreseeing and the forethought. Forgetting about that loss of the memory. Memo to your moon, the more on to the more the moon, the lunatics and the finding time to keep the key, the lunatics and watching it, the redundancy, the acting instead of acting when you find an invasion, the unveil the masking tape over the eyes to blame yourself instead of misleading the pleasing the innocence and the outcome. You come out of ignorance and you ran for the irate. The rational for the irrational, give for the irrational. Rational to the irrelevant for the vending of the vengeance and giving them taking back the moon to high. Two faces on it, see that one who looks like the smiling man for the surface of the greatest of the only the impact for the creates of the occurrences. Current the drowning for the treading in emotions. I which can't see that but the sees the eye, the shining sea for the seal for the ceiling for the secrets of the seductive for the sacrament for the capital for the golden state for the mind for the treasures that one through the eye, the pirate. The pirates that killed the math for the secret for the enriching and the currencies. Loom to the curriculum for the correlating. Circulating for the like and order for the dumb, making the pain for the emotions and numb enough for the adding up and like the letters and the numbers to the time that have been on the table. There should have been a multiplication of the power of man.
There's no place in your position. What do you find? What if she could look at me and ask the opposite television? You can find that from the screen. Things are not what they seem. It's that for the night. I couldn't hold. I couldn't forget. What's to remember? I gave that a chance and give it a chance to do it again. But what you can do and then do it again, if you do it, and then we get on later in the text. And this would be the answer to the phone for the how you can find that, but it wouldn't hurt someone for the wouldn't hurt from the many times that you hurt me for the owner they find and trust it. It wouldn't matter anyway. You would consider me if you remember that you love me for the thank you for saying, but it wasn't time for the least for the acknowledgement, the effort for the trying to give what you want, for the not to see someone to fight you unconditionally, for the proving the showing doubts and complaints in my love changing. I don't know what happened, if you want me to love you or not. You maybe feel like you don't. If you want for the even more, for the any more layer earlier, and enough for the over you, over me, for the giving you love, and I had that for the getting upset, for the getting, for the hurting over. Do you to be again receiving and trying to love you and pushing through and defining you, keep my loss and said the curl and wishing you would just all the way instead. Now, at least this was nice and I can thank you, and it was thoughtful, giving me the acknowledgement of effort, and even if someone you didn't, I not define the please and my love for the right the process to get back to you, for the donate completing ignore my feelings for will for us, will for you. Will you stay for the children, stay for the children, for you not excused, for the justification, for the negligence and the consideration, because I'm expressing that for the place of the taking your hurt, to always considering how, somehow, always. Coming from that place where it's not easy enough for that I need you to understand that that's and down, the not for the not is love to love, but under notice for the considerate, but would appreciate it, for the not for the want to anymore, for the can't see that for the me trying suffering. I really need to breathe. I can't hope for you to give me air, and I need someone that's sorry ever again, for the need for the meditation, for the no desire for the being washed away, because you could be a adversity. Finally making it way for the acceptable, the right for the because you can find the behavior unknown, for the unjust and the pack for the been made. There's a child missing, the father for the mother, for the sister, the river, the uncle gone, for the there's a loss of eternal pain. Our children are unaffected, but the negligence is done, for the can't get screwed, for the W mutually, for the waiting for the work. Compromise and love. I ain't pushing out of the same for the love, for the promise and made for the future, and the founding for the should be looked at for the only consideration, for the I feel obviously waiting on the clock. My hurt is with you for the loneliness and the suffering really caused by you, for the choosing not to care for the already, the able, the only directed, the undefined, the one that hurt, the step aside for the love, that I can hold my hands in the air to show my weakness. No weapons, not here for the repeat, and not to hurt you. I love you and I want to support you, but I can find the injured again for the even thinking about, but the option if I have been placed in the same position elbows before, the consider when you can find the care for the pain, for the effort, for the love, and the sacrifice. What's going on? You made your point. Say it's about the action, not the words. You are blinded to the action to see the words when there's nothing I can say. Obviously, in the mother, the obliviously, for the sit in the pain, for the come to realization, the wonderful life of the children would it be the effective other one, but the innocent bystanders. I've cried, I've tried. Now walking away for the no one to look at with. Maybe I'm able to look back for the only the point, the way the God go towards the heart when you thought I wasn't. I don't want to be damaged and have long-term effects with it. This is the goodbye for the realization. I never want to look back, because you have hurt me and abused the child for the five and the five, and coming in near you for the only have the love for the only the abuse and the want to love you and influence and this and be the try for the crime and trauma and cry that for the help for the arm and try the deal. But how can you treat me this way? Not seriously. Been this and this and not, and how are you that cold? I'm so confused and it doesn't matter for the end. Remember you related to that I was acting for the spine for the being man for the what you could find. Genuinely, sincerely asking this and well, I wish you wouldn't discuss that for the being together, for the trauma, for the pain, for the over the giving better, but the lack of the just being honest and real. I must look back at your tracks and see the hypocrisy, for the contradiction, to impact for the history and me responding to you, but the neglecting me is not easily, especially unnoticed for the such harsh manner, at least. And beautiful children who don't deserve the effect of the last film for me and I. Give me the mercy and I can compensate for this executing, for the making it happen again, for the only how else and I can find the truth and honesty regardless of if you do or not, for the submitted, for the dedicated, for the unconditional love, and what you have and have to never offer, and is what you want to receive and not for have the answers, and neither do you. Why don't you remember? Don't you recall so many moments you said you wouldn't do this again, but you're trying to make it whatever that matters, and you feel the ears and me for the only support. Always if you can find the saying this and this will be the problem, but you don't see for the coming to this place and love it. You can find the love for the me, you can help when they're hungry, they understand, but that's for the taking care for them. You can find them there for me, but I patience. I believe you will know I'm glad you made it, but who's made it for the orange juice, for the making of who's that for the maid, but who's that made it for the married, that made it for the last name, for the first mate, first love, for the gift of true medicine, for the square, down to the self no longer, for the coming to show for the misreturn for the abortion, for the adoption of